Can we talk about Breedlove?
Yeah,
You
let's
want
do it.
to?
Yeah, I do, because
I read the whole thing. I read the whole thing he wrote. So
I didn't read it. I'm
I
gonna be
read
honest. I didn't
well,
read it.
I read the first half and then I skimmed the second half.
So what are your
Only
thoughts?
because I'm European, so I'm a bit softer, and I just kind of I don't know if he wants to rewind the clock or he wants to stick to his guns, but I want the clock to be rewound for him and this not to have happened. I like the guy. I spent time with him in Miami.
Me
He's
too.
a
Yeah.
nice guy. He's a good dude, and I'm just finding what's happening to him brutal. And I know it's like he deserves it, and I know there's his toxicity, yada yada. And I don't know. I just feel sorry for him. I feel sad.
I don't know him that well, but I think he's a very intellectual guy, and I think sometimes what happens to very intellectual people is they take a stance and they don't consider all the angles. Right at the end of the day, there's if someone would have told him that this was an 80% chance of happening, I don't think he would have gone about it the same way. That's a good way to say it. But in other interviews, I think it comes down to him saying like, hey, I'm going to be me and you can't change me either way because this is my freedom to say what I want. And, from a financial standpoint, I think a lot of people jump to conclusions that maybe were a little bit extreme and then it just got worse. And now I think it serves more as a warning, not to people on that level where, authors and thought leaders and stuff like that, but more to everybody new entering the space to say like, hey, listen, the temptation to take easy money never goes away. And that is why Bitcoiners are so militant or whatever you want to call it towards do this path, do this thing, don't do these things, do this. It's because they feel like the temptation is really bad. And if you liken it to something else, whether it's like a religion or whatever, there's obviously certain things that are sort of non-negotiable in those belief sectors. And in this case, this particular thing has been seen since inception as such a one-way street. You pay in Bitcoin to get these tokens. It's bullshit because you can't get your Bitcoin back. So anything you can't get your Bitcoin back is somewhat of a scam or a full scam, right? And that's the way a lot of us see it. And regardless of who it is, that's the way I look at it. So
what I want Rob to do is I want Rob to come out and say, listen, guys, I needed the money. I promoted and then I dumped a shitcoin. I tried to get one past you because I knew it was unethical. I fucked up and I'm sorry. I'm obviously not a shitcoiner. I obviously don't believe in this project. And, just a human error on my part. I don't
want if that's not what happened?
I don't
want if that's not what happened?
But that's not what happened at all. If you read his thing, which is his thing is 3,000 words. I read the whole thing. But and he says, I did not need the money.
Yeah. But you could easily argue, well, that's you're post rationalizing something. Let's just go to the point pre draining the wallet, where he's just said, I'm just going to have a look at this, right? Now, my only defense of this is that I know everyone's called it a scam, but what if he's intellectually wanting to look at it because he's considering, is there a better way to run social networks? And the reason I'll put that out there is we have Bitcoin maxis that understand that Ethereum is a piece of shit, and they've had to play with Ethereum to understand that. They've had to look at it. They've had to dig into the code. So pre-draining the wallet, he was getting a lot of shit. And I was thinking, well, hold on. I want to look at BitClout. I want to see how it works. I think it's kind of interesting. I haven't.
Okay, so my take on that, and I understand where you're coming from completely, which is to say that anybody should be allowed, because it's a free world, to investigate whatever they want academically. Here's the difference. You don't put it on Twitter. You can Google something and you can investigate things. You can look things up. You can look things up without having to tweet a link. Or maybe you can phone a friend. Hey, call Jimmy, call HODL, call one of these other people that is, or call Peter McCormick, call somebody, right?
Did he not say within the piece that, I didn't read the piece, but somebody told me that he said within the piece that he wanted to see if he could pump up the value of the BitClout token, right?
He wanted to see if him tweeting about it was going to have a big enough effect to move the price of his token.
And it
or
did.
Whatever.
And it did.
And it did. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. he also says, I'm not sorry I did this. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not toxic. And this proves it that like I am a freedom maximalist. I'm going to do whatever I want. No one can tell me what to do. And if someone judges me, I'm going to block them and I don't give a shit. And that's like kind of a summary. Now that's fine, right? That's fine because it's his life. He can live it however he wants. So the problem is, and like this is what as an athlete, I can tell you that this is very common. Okay, hero worship leads to disappointment, broken hearts, and posters torn off the wall. Okay, people are like, "God damn it, Robert, I loved you." You know what I mean? Because he's like this alpha male buff dude that writes all this stuff and uses big words, and people are like, "Look, it's a really smart guy. It's a smart guy in Bitcoin. It's not just some Cheeto eating dude in the basement that didn't do anything before this." But everybody is subjected to the same rules on the internet, which is that if you tell people things, they're gonna look it up. If I threw a stat out there like, oh, I threw the fastest fastball in history, people are gonna be like, fuck this guy. There's no way he did, right? They're gonna look it up. So if you do anything, people are gonna Google it. People are gonna look it up. They're gonna check your Wikipedia. They're gonna check YouTube. They're gonna look it up. And as a result of him having a lot of material out there to sift through, he's getting ripped to shreds by people that have seen all these other things that he's said over the last couple of years. The reality is he's been in Bitcoin probably about the same amount of time that I've been in Bitcoin, but I've only been like a personality in Bitcoin or whatever, like for 3 months because of Clubhouse, because I went in there and said some profound shit, did some impersonations. People are like, wow, this guy gets it. But like, I'm not trying to sell a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be a Bitcoin personality in that regard. I'm a baseball person. I'm a car dealer, but I just happen to like have a very hard stance on Bitcoin. But I'm more of like a political person in that regard. I think that politically we have problems, and Bitcoin can solve our political problems. That's my thing. I don't think like financially, if you want to mine Ethereum and flip it to Bitcoin, it's like you're kind of helping the Ethereum network to do that because you're providing security for it. But like once proof of stake comes out, then you can't even do that unless you have 30 Ethereum, which who wants to get caught holding that fucking bag? So I don't know, but like I traded a lot of other shit on the way up to like becoming a Bitcoin only person. So yeah, but I haven't written a book saying I've only ever been Bitcoin person.